Panama Canal is a modern marvel that bridges the world. This canal connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and the President of Panama, Juan Carlos Varela, made a visit to the historic Panama Canal on Wednesday. Vice President Naidu applauded the efforts of laborers and engineers in building the structure, calling it an engineering marvel. The President of Panama, Juan Carlos Varela, who broke protocol and joined the Vice President of India on his visit to the historic Panama Canal, called it a geographic precision, bringing people together, the best gateway for Latin America and India. This canal works in elevated lock systems, which hoists ships above sea level, allowing them to pass through two oceans in shorter time. Prior to the completion of the canal, a ship sailing between the ports in Los Angeles and Long Beach had to sail through Cape Horn, the southernmost point of Southern America. This 12,000-mile trip took 67 days. After the canal was completed, approximately 8,000 miles were eliminated from the trip. It was a similar situation for ships heading from Asia to the East Coast. France began work on the canal in 1881, but stopped due to engineering problems. The United States then took over the project in 1904. It spent 10 years to complete this canal. It allowed ships to travel between two oceans more safely and in half the time.
After holding 4-hour-long extensive bilateral talks with the President, Vice President of India has visited the Panama Canal. To his historic visit, breaking away from the protocol, the Panama President has also accompanied. With camera person Prashanta Karmakar, Rajkamal Rao, Rajya Sabha TV.
Strengthening ties and extending cooperation to a new level. India and Panama inked MOUs on exemption of visas for holders of diplomatic and official passports and agriculture in the presence of Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, President of Panama, Juan Carlos Varela Rodriguez, and Vice President and Foreign Minister of Panama in Panama City.
At the end of the discussions, an MOU on visa exemption for diplomatic, official and consular passports was signed. There was a work plan on cooperation in agriculture that was signed. There was an agreement to establish a parliamentary friendship group for the entire Latin American region from the Indian side, which would of course include Panama. Then two lines of credit were announced by Government of India, by Honorable Vice President. One is a $10 million line of credit for in biotechnology, and the other is a $15 million credit line in innovation sector.
After receiving the Vice President at the palace, President and Vice President of Panama held 4-hour-long high-level delegation talks with him and discussed matters of crucial bilateral importance. Later, in a joint statement issued by Vice President of India along with the President of Panama, the Vice President said India and Panama always had cordial ties. Both countries resolved to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations.
I had very useful, meaningful, constructive discussions with the President Varela, which covered all aspects of our relations, including bilateral, regional and multilateral issues. Our interactions highlighted our common values for democracy, pluralism and inclusive development. It also reflected the spirit of solidarity, cooperation and mutual respect. We resolved to fight the scourge of terrorism in all its forms and manifestation and agreed to strengthen cooperation in combating terrorism in the international fora.
Vice President Naidu lauded Panama for including India for strengthening relations in its Falcon policies. He also said the two centers, one for biodiversity and innovation, will be set up by India in Panama worth $10 million and $15 million each.
President of Panama pointed out that in their new foreign policy, which is called the Falcon policy, they have in fact identified India as an important partner with which they would like to do business. He definitely once again reiterated an interest in inviting the participation of the Indian professionals in further growth and development of Panama, and to that direction, the President informed our Vice President that they had introduced new laws that would encourage greater investments in their colon-free zone, and also eased their visa policies to allow greater Indian participation, Indian business, Indian tourism into Panama. So those were very important elements.
The Vice President further added that in order to boost cooperation in key areas, both the countries have agreed to strengthen cooperation in tax information, economic cooperation, air services, traditional medicines, culture and space.
Vice President of India, M. Venkaiah Naidu, has held high-level talks with the President and Vice President of Panama, and both the nations have agreed to extend cooperation in fields of taxation, biodiversity and all other crucial issues. In a joint statement, both the leaders have condemned all forms of terror and have decided to act against the menace of terror globally. With camera person Prashanta Karmakar, I'm Rajkamal Rao, Rajya Sabha TV from the city of Panama. Mr. President, you've accompanied our Vice President of India to the Panama Canal. You had a busy schedule. What made you accompany our Vice President? Could you please tell us first?
First, I'm very happy to receive Vice President Naidu and all his delegation. It's the most important visit by an Indian official to our country. So for us, it's a sign of the government of India, Prime Minister Modi and Vice President Naidu, that of the interest of building a stronger relationship between India and Panama. So I'm very happy to come with him and show him the canal, which is the main asset of our country, and also the rainforests that protect the water that support the function of the Panama Canal. And also we expect to increase our bilateral relationship with India. After this visit, we have a very good meeting today at the palace, and I'm pretty sure that India and Panama will be working very closely to bring a better future for their own people. So I'm really happy to be with him at the canal.
Hold on, sir. Mr. Vice President, could you please tell us how were your talks with the President of Panama?
Very meaningful, very purposeful. We covered a very wide range of issues, and the President was open, he was forthcoming, and he was also keen to engage with India and also encourage Indian investments here and also invest in India also. And we have discussed a wide range of issues, and we have signed 2 MOUs also. And then this will be taken further by our ambassador here. And I am really very happy that the President and Vice President, leaving the protocol aside, coming to the Panama Canal, because Panama Canal is really a wonder of the world. Secondly, it's the lifeline of this country. Thirdly, it connects America, the Atlantic and Pacific, and these oceans, 2 oceans coming together at one place. And even in 1904, when the construction has taken place, there were Indians. One of the gentlemen was telling that he has the black and white photographs also. I felt very happy. Wherever there is development, there is some role for Indians also.
Mr. President, could you please tell us the contribution of Panama Canal to world transport, trade and cargo?
Panama is a country that unites the world. Our geographic position defines our foreign policy of uniting, bringing people together. We are the great connection. So Panama is the most important, this route is the most important for trade, for world trade. And also we are showing today to the Vice President the hospitality of our country, the heart of our people, and we open the doors of our country for Indian businessmen, Indian tourists that want to visit Panama, and from Panama expand their presence in the Latin American, Central American and Caribbean region. So Panama is the best gateway for Latin America, for India, and that's the main reason of this meeting today. And we have agreed different topics that I'm sure that will help us build a stronger relationship.
We'll go across to our correspondent Rajkamal Rao, who is joining us live from the Panama City. Raj, what was the outcome of the talks between the Vice President and the President of Panama?
Vice President of India and Panama President and the delegation has held high-level talks in Panama City at Presidential Palace today. Both the leaders have agreed to cooperate on issues like biodiversity, agriculture and exemption to visas for diplomatic passport holders, and other issues have also been discussed during the meeting. Later, both the leaders have visited the historic Panama Canal, where Vice President where Vice President Venkaiah Naidu appreciated the engineering marvel of the canal and has appreciated the efforts of the labourers, engineers who built the canal.
And Raj, also the visit to the Panama Canal was historic. The President of Panama broke the protocol there.
President of Panama broke his protocol and accompanied the Vice President on his way to Panama Canal. This can be perceived as his country's extending friendship to India, and he's also spoken to Rajya Sabha TV specially and has appreciated India's efforts and its reach out to Panama, especially on issues like taxation and economic cooperation. Both the leaders have agreed on mutual cooperative issues and have shown resolve to act against terror in all forms.
Thank you so much, Raj, for joining us and giving us all those inputs.